Congresswoman Terri Sewell, and I proudly represent Alabama's 7th Congressional District, America's Civil Rights District, which includes the historic cities of Birmingham, Montgomery, my hometown of Selma, Alabama. Today I am proud to be joined by my colleagues of the Congressional Black Caucus to honor the legacy of an American hero, Mrs. Rosa Parks. This Friday, December 1st, will be the 68th anniversary of Rosa Parks' arrest in Montgomery, Alabama. By simply refusing to give up her seat, Rosa Parks stood up for the values that this nation holds dear. With her quiet, dignified courage, she took a stand against a city steeped in segregation. And in doing so, she sparked the beginning of a movement that changed the very fabric of our nation. Beginning on December 5th, 1955, and continuing for the next 432 days, African Americans in Montgomery, Alabama brought the city's bus system to a screeching halt, taking a bold stand against the reality of segregation in Jim Crow South. The change agents and freedom fighters who staged the Montgomery bus boycott are a testament to the will of a disenfranchised people to take control of their own destiny, and their success quickly became the global model for nonviolent human rights advocacy. 68 years ago, as benefactors of their sacrifice, we who stand here 68 years ago, from now.
That's right.
We who stand here as benefactors of their sacrifice remain indebted to them for laying the foundation of the continued struggle for justice and liberty for all. That's why today I am proud to be leading the effort in Congress to designate December 1st as Rosa Parks Day in her honor. The Rosa Parks Day Act was the first bill that I introduced in the 118th Congress, along with Chairman Horsford and our immediate past chairman, Joyce Beatty. We in the Congressional Black Caucus understand that progress is elusive and that every generation must fight to preserve the progress of the past and to advance it. By commemorating the arrest of Rosa Parks with a new federal holiday, we will help ensure that her brave sacrifice is never forgotten. Each year, Rosa Parks Day will serve as a reminder of the power of ordinary Americans to achieve extraordinary social change. It will become the first federal holiday in our nation's history to honor a woman and to honor a black woman. Rosa Parks is a true American hero. She was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1996, the Congressional Gold Medal in 1999, and even became the first woman in America to lie in honor and state at the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. Her lifelong work in the fight for justice and equality still resonates today and inspires our communities to fight for the advancement of justice and equality. There is no more befitting figure in our nation's history to honor a national federal holiday than Rosa Parks, and I urge my colleagues from all walks of life, from both sides of the aisle, regardless of their political party, to join me in this effort. I want to thank my colleagues who have joined me today. We have Troy Carter from Louisiana, we have our chairman, Stephen Horsford, and we have our immediate past chairwoman, Joyce Beatty. We are very proud to stand together to announce that we will have a federal holiday for a woman, a black woman, the Rosa Parks Day, and we will introduce it into Congress year after year until it becomes law. With that, I will pass it over to our chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus, Stephen Horsford.
Well, thank you. Good morning. I am Congressman Stephen Horsford. I'm proud to represent Nevada's 4th Congressional District and to serve as chair of the Congressional Black Caucus for the 118th session. The members of the CBC now comprise 60 members, 120 million Americans, 20 million Black Americans from across the country. And we recognize that when we uplift the stories of the Black community, we uplift the stories of U.S. history. So I'm proud to join my colleague and good friend, Congresswoman Terri Sewell, as well as my colleagues, the Media Pass Chair, Joyce Beatty, and our second Vice Chair, Troy Carter, in urging the passing of her bill, H.R. 308, the Rosa Parks Day Act. And I'm proud to be an original co-sponsor of this bill. December 1st, 1955 was monumental for our nation and for the fight for civil rights for Black Americans and really for all of America. That day in Montgomery, Alabama, sparked the Montgomery bus boycott and propelled the civil rights movement. As a community, we have seen efforts to erase and rewrite history, Black history, as some work to paint the horrors of slavery as some sort of work training program and to say Black people benefited from slavery. Let me be loud and clear. Black people did not benefit from slavery. That is why it's important for us to reclaim our history, to honor our history, to promote our history, because we understand that Black history is in fact U.S. history. So I'm proud that several times this year I have had the honor and privilege to swear in our newest CBC members in front of the Rosa Parks statue. She stands as a monumental figure for our history and for our nation. December 1st should be a holiday that our nation recognizes for the impact on our history and for the advancement of civil rights for all Americans. And with that, I look forward to working with Representative Sewell and members of the Congressional Black Caucus, and in fact our colleagues, to promote this legislation in honor of Rosa Parks and her place in American history. With that, I will turn it over to the immediate past chair, Joyce Beatty.
Thank you and good afternoon. As we have heard, on December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks was arrested in Montgomery, Alabama, for refusing to give up her seat to a white man. That single act of defiance sparked a powerful charge of change for the civil rights movement and the trajectory of the American culture and way of life for many years to come. Today, I stand with my colleagues at the 68th anniversary of that monumental arrest of Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks is a martyr for equality, an icon to all, a crusader for justice, and truly she was a phenomenal Black woman whose legacy should be revered as a hero in American history books and well beyond our borders. She is the epitome of being ahead of her time and, yes, putting people over politics. When I served as chairwoman of the Congressional Black Caucus, it was indeed my honor to stand with First Vice Chair Stephen Horsford and the author, Congresswoman Terri Sewell, designating December the 1st as a federal holiday. Certainly one day out of our year is not enough to do justice to the impact she's made. At the same time, by turning this legislation into law, Rosa Parks would be the very first woman, and yes, a Black woman, to be honored with a federal holiday. And that is something worth celebrating. The impact of Rosa Parks for me is deeply personal. She inspired me in part to become the leader I am today. As a legislator in the Ohio State House, I authored the bill, Section 52231 of Chapter 5 state legislation, to be the first state in our country to recognize Rosa Parks Day. I have also honored her legacy by hosting an annual event in my district displaying her deeply impactful Power of One legacy for 18 consistent years. And in 2011, When I was not a member of Congress, I sat in the House gallery, beaming with pride when then Congresswoman Marcia Fudge recognized Ohio's Rosa Parks Day by entering it into the congressional records. I'd like to thank my colleagues for joining us today and for us coming together to, yes, honor the legacy of an American revolutionary. It's past time to give Rosa Parks the national recognition she deserves with an official Rosa Parks Day. Thank you, and I yield back.
We have been joined by Delegate Stacey Plaskett and by Congresswoman Alma Adams. I will open it up for questions, and I want to say in conclusion that this is deeply personal for the Congressional Black Caucus. We know we stand on the shoulders of these giants, and we know that we can stand because Rosa sat. And having an opportunity to acknowledge her with her own federal holiday is just one way we can pay honor and tribute. And we can say to the nation, never forget. Never forget. With that, I'll open it up for questions.
Hi, Ashley Banks with the Brio. I have two questions. My first one, how do you think this will be received by House Republicans?
Well, I hope it will be received joyfully by them. We are seeking signatures as we speak, and I think that it's a great way to show bipartisan support for American history, to join with us in getting this federal holiday, the first federal holiday for a woman, and for it to be a black woman. I think that this would send a powerful message to this nation. So I look forward to my Republican colleagues joining us in this effort.
Okay, and second question, this is for anyone. What message does that send that there are no federal holidays that recognize black women?
I think it sends a strong message what we're doing today, and it's also that there's not a holiday for a woman, period. And so I think that makes us stand in unity with our other colleagues, be it members of the Congressional Black Caucus or members of the majority party here. If you go back and look at that day that her body lied in state, wasn't just black people who stood in line for hours. There were many of our majority colleagues who came, people from the Tri-Caucus. So while we are leading this, and yes, it's deeply personal to us, this is good for America. So we want to make it clear, when you think about our transit authorities across this country, when you think about the statement it made for a year, people refuse to get on a bus. When you think about the modern civil rights movement in Rosa Parks, it changed the lives of Americans.
Thank you.
Now is the time. This is
And Andre Carson, please come join us.
Yes.
Congressman Carson.
I just want to clarify, this was first introduced back in January, is that correct?
That's right.
And so I know as of right now, at least the latest signature list I saw was about 31 Democrats have signed on. Why haven't all members of the Congressional Black Caucus, are you still trying to get more people to sign up?
We are, and I fully expect that every member of the Congressional Black Caucus will join us in this effort. We hope every Democrat will join us in this effort, and we hope that Republicans will also join us in this effort. As has been said, this is not just about black history, it's about American history. And I know that all of us, this whole nation, has benefited from the courage and bravery of this one woman who refused to give up her seat on a bus. And because of that, it really led to a civil rights movement, which frankly became a global human rights movement. And it's really important that we acknowledge that. And what better way than to have a federal holiday named after her?
And can you also address the challenges of federal holidays have always been historically difficult to be added? Tell me about the challenges that you face trying to just, get this over that hurdle.
I know that federal holidays means that federal workers will not necessarily have to come into work. And so it is a paid holiday. But what a small sacrifice to make to honor such an American legacy. And, frankly, we've done it for presidents, we've done it for others, and I think it's really important message for us to send, and a powerful testament, really, for Congress to send, to have its very first woman holiday, federal holiday, be an African-American woman, Rosa Parks.
That's one.
Yes.
Thank you for taking the question. Curious to know, what can young freedom fighters, youth movements learn from Rosa Parks' legacy? There are a lot of movements right now for various issues, some global, some domestic. What can young people, what can young folks of color take from Rosa Parks' legacy, the broader civil rights movement, and apply it to these current movements that we're seeing right now?
What a great question. Let me just say that our civil rights icons, those known and unknown, who had the temerity, the audacity to make this nation live up to its highest ideals, they were tacticians and strategists. They just didn't so happen to come upon Montgomery. They didn't so happen to have Rosa Parks refuse to get up. They didn't so happen to come up Selma, Alabama for the voting rights. These were tacticians and strategists, and we can all learn a lot from them. We can learn the power of never giving up. We can learn the power of us in numbers, marching, praying, and standing up for just the basic rights of this nation. So I really think that as the author of the John Robert Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, and I've introduced that now 5 times in different Congresses, I can be mad, I can be upset, I can be angry, but what we cannot do is give up. We have to stand strong, stand united, because we are on the right side of history, both for a federal holiday for Rosa Parks and to pass the John Robert Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act to fully restore the voting right protections that all Americans should enjoy.
We have time for one more question.
Yes.
You kind of touched on this, but obviously this isn't a new effort. You've been at this for a while, and it doesn't yet have the support to happen. So what is it going to take in terms of discussions with your colleagues to make this happen?
I think it's going to be some very tough discussions. It's the same discussions we had when we wanted to put Rosa Parks' statue in Statuary Hall. That seemed to be an insurmountable task. But with perseverance, with advocacy, we were able to achieve that. And I think that talking on the floor about the significance of not having a federal holiday named after any woman, and in particular, the civil rights mother of the civil rights, Rosa Parks, I believe will make it more palatable and more likely. I mean, in order to have Rosa Parks to lie in state, to have that honor as the only woman and only black woman to lie in state is a powerful testimony to the legacy of sacrifice that not only Rosa Parks made, but so many known and unknown foot soldiers.
I would just add in closing to both the last questions, for young people and for what more can everyone do, it's not, movements don't happen only by members of Congress in this building. Movements happen from the people up.
That's right.
And every advancement that we have made in civil rights, in voting rights, in human rights, in women's rights, and labor rights have happened because the people forced it to happen. So whether you're young or seasoned, you have a role to play in this. The model that leaders like Rosa Parks and other civil rights leaders showed us in the Freedom Summer movement is what led us as the Congressional Black Caucus this past year to have our own summer of action called Democracy for the People, where we traveled the country to talk to constituents through town halls and youth forums and community organizing sessions to talk about the cornerstones of democracy, which include education and teaching the full history, not the one that they want to teach, but the full history, to ensure that there is freedom of the press so that we don't have misinformation and disinformation, that we talk about the importance of the courts, particularly when so many decisions are being made about our fundamental rights and freedoms. And yes, the most fundamental right of all is our right to vote, which is something the Congressional Black Caucus will continue to fight for through the passage of the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. But the people have to push this body, because we will be led by the people not by politics. It's people over politics. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
all.
Great job.